Hello, Akka here again. Welcome to episode 31 of my v0.5.2 beta, version 0.5 still. One of the FTB guys, a guy called Wild, he's the guy who's putting together the 0.7 pack, and he posted about 3.5 hours ago that he's currently on a test server on what he thinks is a finished pack. So 0.7 should be coming soon. It's still not with us yet as I'm making this. It is UK time, Friday morning, and it's about 10:30 in the morning UK time. So a couple of hours before episode 30 actually goes out. I've done a couple of things after episode 30 before the world upload. I left a couple of treats for you. Treats. One thing is I made another exit to the base, which I'll show you in a little while. Another thing is I made a portal gun. I tested with the spawner a couple more times, make sure it works alright, and so I ended up with a couple of nether stars. I think I gave Tom one, and I've got a couple. I think maybe got one or two. I've got two in there, so I ended up making 4. And I thought I'd make a portal gun for anyone who downloaded the world, so you've got a portal gun to get along with. And ironically, about an hour after I made the portal gun, Kel left me some presents, a lot of spawners, obviously because he's in creative mode. He just keeps spawning spawners in, and gets carried away like he does because he's got the mind of a child. And you see Justice Fistings on at the minute. He's making some nice houses, which I'll show you in a minute. But he's building some creative stuff in the village there. Kel left loads of ocelot spawners over here, which weren't too bad, apart from there was a bit too many of them. And when I was clearing them out, I noticed that tree there, and I've seen that tree. I've never actually noticed this tree before. And I checked the chest, and in there was a bacon gun. So I'm actually carrying the potato gun that I made, and the bacon gun is on the sand back in there. So there was a portal gun that close to my base all this time. I never knew. So I got rid of all the ocelot spawners. There was a lot of snowman spawners on here, producing silly amount of snowmen. And he spawned in a nagger, and he spawned in a leech, which I killed over here somewhere. So yeah, the floating ender balls from the leech there. So I tidied all that up. The world's not loading in very well there, is it? I tidied all that up before I could get on with anything else. I'll show you a couple of things that I did in the base, and then I'll show you the new entrance to the base. Let's just drop down there. Can't believe the world isn't loading in. It's really terrible. This jetpack's really good, the thermostatic harness. It is a bit tedious having to refill the jar. Down to 25. I threw this to Justice yesterday, and because he was in creative, it just deleted it. So I actually had to I got it back with exactly the same enchants that it had. So I remade it. I creatively spawned one back in because it obviously got destroyed. I put the repair 2 and the haste 3 on it, and the protection I've actually added using the books like I planned to. So I just replaced what I'd lost through him being in creative. I didn't know that if you throw something to someone who's in creative and their inventory's full, it just annihilates the item. So he's making another one there, but he made this house for me yesterday. This is pretty cool. It's got a lapis floor in. This would be quite expensive if he was doing it legitimately. It's quite a lot of lapis, that, but I guess this is because he's a vanilla player, and in vanilla I don't think there's a great deal to do with lapis, but that looks really nice. That's one of the new blocks. I believe was added with 1.5, was it? Possibly, lapis blocks. Not sure, but I've never seen them before, but that looks really nice. A couple of things in the base to show you before the new entrance, so I'll get to that in a minute, because when I get to that I also want to explain how and why I did it. But I had a couple of problems when I logged on this morning. One of them was, let's just go back up there a second. One of them was I was out of coal coke. This should stay over 64. It was down at about 38 when I logged on this morning. It's back up to 37 now, and that was because I looked down here and all these guys were full of creosote. So I've got the issue where the 3 MFSUs upstairs had filled up, and the creosote had nowhere to go, so they'd filled up, so they'd stopped production. It was alright. I looked in here, even when it had run out. By the time I got it sorted out, I made another MFSU. By the time I got it sorted out, that the coal coke had actually run out, but I still had like full stack there, 2 full stacks, and that was down to like 50 odd, so I'd only just run out. But if I'd been offline today, that would have eventually run out. But me being offline is something that never happens. So what I did was, to remedy that, just for now, is I made another MFSU, just banged it on top there. So that one's got 2.3 million now, that's filling up. So that's all them tanks pretty much had a quarter of a MFSU's worth of creosote. So what I'm going to have to do with that, I think, is a suggestion from one of my subscribers, Joseph, said that I should have met loads of steel tanks behind the walls. So I just got the valves showing, which I think is a pretty good idea. So I'm going to do that, I think. I'm going to, possibly this level, make some steel tanks on the walls and put my stuff in them. And what I can do is I can put a steel tank, and using a structure pipe and a gate, I can sense when it's full and turn on a void pipe for say 30 seconds or something, just so that it's got an overflow when it gets too full. I think I'm going to do it that way. I'm not using any EU at the minute, just because we ain't got, well, mainly because I ain't got that improved Omni wrench yet that gets rid of Greg's silliness. Yeah, I made some carbon plates and some rubber, but that's about it. Right, what else have I done? A couple of other things. I did change this fertilizer, like I said I would. I think this is a pretty good build for a farm, actually. 4 farms. I could have fit a 5th farm in the middle there. There is a water block under there, but I could have moved that power line there and put another planter under there, I reckon. Let me out, dickhead. I reckon you could put a 5th farm in there quite easily. One turn off then. So 1 fertilizer with an upgrading radius 3 upgrade covers all these, which makes it a little bit less material intensive, because obviously that needed a bus and cables and stuff as well. So yeah, that works really nice. So whenever these level emitters turn off, the fertilizer, well, the harvester kicks in, harvest the items, and the fertilizer can feed all 4 of these. And that's what I'm going to do with the melons as well. The melons are going to get a similar setup. Now, what I've been told to do with the melons, and I've checked it out, and it works, it seems to work really nice, is IC2 crops. These are something you may not have used, something that I never really used. How do I get that off again? Okay. IC2 crops. This is IC2 stuff. You get seed bags and stuff. I used these in Tech-It many months ago, well, over a year ago, and they're pretty cool, but I never really got around to using them again. They work better if they're at altitude and stuff like that, but what you can do is, melon can grow in 1 block. So instead of having to have all that space up there for melon, I can make a 3x3 melon farm. I can use I think the MFR harvester works on this. I'll have to check that, but I'm pretty sure the MFR harvester works on this. And what this does is, you get quite a good yield from that. I say, like, I've got 11 melons and a full melon there, and a full melon you can pulverize into blocks. So I'd have to send this from a pulverizer. I've actually already set it up. So that can be pulverized. You get 8 melon, and you get 80% chance of a seed as well. So that's pretty cool. So obviously I'll craft them into seeds as well. So you get almost 9 melon out of each of them. Pretty cool. So yeah, I'll be changing this farm to be the same as that farm over there. So I'm gonna have melons in one corner, pumpkin, cocoa, because I've not set up my little jungle tree block with the cocoa yet, and something else, possibly reeds. I may even do a 5th one in the middle. But yeah, that's that. So that's going to be something I'm going to do off camera, and I'll show you when it's done. And that'll be all my farm setup complete, I think. Right, now, what's next then? Well, next, I guess, is look at the new exit I've made. This is partly because, if you remember yesterday's episode, I said I've got a little system planned for this energetic infuser with the ender chest underneath it. I want to do a little thing with Rednet and Rednet. And for that, I needed to actually have a quick practice how this thing works. I've not used this before. I've had a little look in Creative before we got the server up. I believe that was when I did it, yeah. I think it was Creative before I got the server. I had a little look. What you can do is you can craft this thing, which is pretty cool. PRC Owner's Manual, and it's got some example builds in there. And I actually, a few weeks ago before we got this server up, I did these examples just to get me head around it a little bit, but I've not actually made anything in the well with it yet. I've used the Rednet cable, of course, but I've not actually made the controller. The housing there is just a intermediate ingredient you need for that, and we don't have to worry about these two things at the minute, but I'll show you them at some point. So yeah, I'm going to plan to set this up so that it's got a pulse, because obviously if you put something in there, it charges, automatically it gets put into the ender chest, but with an autarkic gate on, it's just going to get pulled straight out again. So I only want the autarkic gate to pulse every 5 or 10 seconds, like we used to do with the other charging setups with the red power, the timer. So I need to set up a timer, which means I need one of these. So I thought I'd have a little practice at that. I'm starting to babble a bit, aren't I? Oh right, I just took them 2 blocks out and fucking put them away, because I didn't realise where I'd got them from. About 2 seconds earlier. What's wrong with me? So, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to leave. Ah, bollocks. I'm going to kill you, because you're a chump. I wanted to make something using the Rednet, so that's what I did. I made a little alternate entrance, exit to my base. This is one side of it, but I'll actually show you it from the other side first, because the other side is more impressive. So if we just go up here, and jump over there. If I come through this door here, this looks pretty much the same as it did, apart from it's got a stone pressure plate just to shut that door there. Looks exactly the same as it was when I left it. I don't think I showed you this anyway, but I made this look like a bit more of a... Put some bookcases and shit in here, but not real special. What I've got here though, if that's wool, if you see in the top right, that's actually called conveyor belt. It's not a conveyor belt at all. It's a MFFS force field. If I try and break that, you see that I can't break them wool blocks. They're actually force field blocks. And what I've set up here is, there's a silent shrouded pressure plate, which opens this passage down, stairs down into the base, and the field just shut on me because I was too slow. I've got it set to so it's 3 seconds. You've got 3 seconds to get up or down. And I'll go through this build in a second, because it took me a bit of time, because I say it's the first time I'm playing with this Rednet stuff, so I was trying to work a few things out. But basically there's a MFFS projector there, which of course is in range of my capacitor, because if you remember, the capacitor I give it an 80 range, so easily within range. So we could have these all over the town if we wanted to, all over the village. Basically there's a projector there that's inverted, so that basically like a NOT gate. So that's always on unless the pressure plates turn it off. The pressure plate at the bottom here, one at the top. The pressure plates I've given a 3 second delay on, so they actually go for 3 seconds. And the other thing here is, it should have come up, but it hasn't. Why is that broken? I seem to have broken my stairs there. There's also a piston. Oh, there you go, it's come up this time. Weird. There's also a piston that pushes a step up there, so it's actually a full set of steps down rather than just being a block there. So I'm going to show you how I did this. Let's just break these blocks first, so we can actually get into where the controller is. So there's the controller. I'm going to make another one of them in a minute, because I'm actually going to set up that infuser thing on camera, but I just want to talk you through this real quick. This was, like I say, a bit of trial and error for me. So what I've got here is basically the Rednet controller only puts out at the top. I've got 3 colours set to it. I've got white, which goes to the MFFS projector there. There's white, look. Orange goes to the... There's one orange going to the block that the pressure plate upstairs is on, and there's the other orange, goes to the pressure plate that block's on. Now these, I had to wrench these so that it was actually force connection. That's what it's called, because if you force connect it to the block, then the pressure plate will go through. If you just have it floating near the block like that, it won't actually connect to the blocks. So that one's not connecting to any blocks. So you force connect that by wrenching it. I can show you that really quick actually. Let's grab a bit of Rednet cable. I'm sure you've seen this before actually, but you know, I'll just show you anyway. So if we had a bit of Rednet cable there, it doesn't connect to anything, but if you right click it, it will force connect mode, so then it'll actually connect to blocks. So if you had a button or a pressure plate or something on that block it was connected to that it didn't work. So that's what we've done there. So that's a setup then. So white connected to there, orange connected to the two pressure plates, and magenta, the third colour, set to the piston there. And basically what I've done is, I don't know if I've done this right, like I say, it's a bit of a learning process for me. I'll show you how I've set it up. So the first channel, don't click this with a Tinker's Construct tool, by the way, it makes you disconnect every time. Or it does with that tool, I don't know if it's just that tool. First thing I did was, on my first channel here, so I've got 6 channels to play with. This is very intimidating when you first look at it. Especially if you don't know what all these logic gates mean. Now, I know some logic gates, but I had to like wiki, I had to see what a multiplexer was. That's a demultiplexer. I'm not sure which one of the state cell from Red Power is one of my favourite blocks, but I'm not sure what actually acts as the state cell. I think this delay thing might, well, I don't know yet. It'll take some practice. But the first thing I set up here was, I used a thing called an inverter, which is basically a NOT gate, and I said that variable 0 is what I want to invert, and variable 0 is the input output up to white. So up is just because it's up out of the block there. You can have up, down, north, south, east, west. So that's the settings on this. So if I change that there, look, that goes north, south. I want that to up. Variable 0 is up, white is inverted. So that pretty much says that if nothing's being pressed, then the projector will be on. Because obviously it's on when it's got a redstone signal. So I've inverted that so it's on when it's not, when it hasn't got a redstone signal. Yeah, makes sense. So that's basically a NOT gate. So I've put a NOT gate onto that so it's on when it's off. And then what I've done is on my second channel, I've connected the second channel to the orange, which is the 2 pressure plates. I've used a thing called a pulse lengthener. And what I've done is so there's the input. The input is again from up, and it's orange. So again from up. So the only connection I've got is up. Everything's connected to up. I could have connected to the side there, but I use a wrench again to make that so it won't connect it at all. So that's the third click you can do with the wrench. I mean, normal, you can force connect, and you can cable to cable only. So that's what that one is there. That's just to stop that connecting to the side here, to keep things a bit simpler. So that's up as well. And that's saying, so the input is orange coming in from the up side, input output from the up. The length of the pulse I've lengthened by a constant 60 ticks, so that's 3 seconds. So what that's basically saying is, when you step on a pressure plate, when you step off it, the pressure plate pulse will stay active for 3 seconds. So that's what that's doing. It's keeping the door open long enough for you to get through, so it doesn't just close on you as soon as you step off the pressure plate. Yeah, hope that makes sense. And also what we can do on that is, it's got an output as well. So the output is, we've changed variable 0, which of course is the inverted white signal. So the inverted white signal is then inverted to 1, this turns it off. So what that does, it turns off the projector. So that's why the pressure plate there turns off the projector. Yeah, makes sense? Wonderful. Then the third thing I've done is, the input and output is white, which gets turned off there. So when that changes, it inverts magenta, which is the piston. So turning off of the projector turns the piston on, which pushes the stairs up. So there we go. We've used 3 channels, and the 3 channels make it so that either of the pressure plates up onto the, turns that off for 3 seconds, and whatever that's turned off, that's pushed up. So basically them two flip around. So we've got a nice little secret entranceway to our base. Yay! I'm quite happy with that. It took me a while to work out, especially how to get the piston to go up. So a little bit of trial and error. It took me a while to work out how to get the piston to go up when that was down, but it turns out it's really quite simple. And that's the thing with logic. It's logic really, it's intimidating and complicated. I always lose a brick. Where the fuck's that brick keep going? Whenever I've done it about 4 or 5 times now. When I take them 4 bricks out, I end up with 3. I don't know what's happening. I must have lost it on a hole or something. But I've done it like 4 or 5 times. Let's just get another brick and cover that up. So yeah, anything with logic is quite intimidating. when you first start it. But logic, by definition, is logic and simple. So once you do get your head around it, it is really straightforward. But it's getting your head around it that's the hard bit. So let's do another thing then. This was probably going to confuse me just doing this, but basically all I want is a little timer setup. So what we're going to do is we're going to make. I've actually made a controller housing, and I needed that because I wanted to add the pattern to craft the actual controller to the ME network. So there we go. So that's pattern is in there with my MFR stuff. And you can see to make that, it's I showed you the pattern for that anyway. It's there, look. So that's how you make that. So we've got one of them in there now. That should have dropped into there, and it has. Wonderful. So what we can do with this then is first of all work out where it's going to go. Right, so let's have a look. So I apologise if this gets boring, but because it's really new to the pack stuff, I actually want to show me actually making it rather than just showing you what I've done like the other one there. So basically what we want is we want this autarkic gate to pull anything out of there, but we don't want it to be on all the time. We want it to single energy pulse, that's what we want, yeah? Right, we want it to single energy pulse when it gets a redstone signal. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a redstone cable there that's going to pulse a redstone signal to it, yeah? And pulse a redstone signal, we need a Rednet controller, and what we need to do with this is we need to go to the one that's a timer, which is a square wave, which has a timer in brackets. If you want to learn more about this mod, by the way, there's some really good videos by Wilke, Wilke Streams, a YouTube video. It does really good mod spotlights. Obviously Direwolf has got a really good mod spotlight in this part 3 of his MFR mod spotlights, and there's a guy from the Feed the Beast forums called Kieran Dave who runs his own type of mod pack called Resonant Raz. He's got pretty good videos on it as well. So there's 3 separate sources of good videos on how to get your head around some of this stuff. So what we want is a wave square. We want input output to be, where's that, north, yeah? So let's come out the north side of that. So our input output is going to be north. I don't know what PD stands for. So nothing's happening yet. Nothing should be happening yet. So then what we want to do here is set a constant. So go through all these, you'll get to... No, we don't get a constant. Okay. How the shit does this work then? Right, I'm going to break the camera, actually work out how this works. I thought that would set that to a constant time. Unless that's... Let's just set that here. Do we set the constant here? Let's try that. Let's set the constant, and I want to set it to... I want to set this to 5 seconds. So that's going to be 100 ticks. That's quite tedious having to single bloody click it. I'm sure there's probably a way... Aha! What was that? Middle button sends it up. Quite a few. Right button takes it down. So constant 100. Iron north white. Is that working? So 5 seconds on. 5 seconds off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Excellent. There we go. So every 5 seconds, that'll go on and pulse that once. So one item will be able to come out of the chest there into things. So we need one more bit of cable. So right, so that was what I got wrong there then. So the constant gets set this side, and where you're sending that timer to is that side. So iron north, white because it's set to white. And constant 100 ticks, 26 ticks to a second, 5 seconds. Nice and simple. Really is nice and simple. Once you've done it once, it's probably quite easy. And oops, shit. The gold cable on there. That's going up nicely. Look, it's up to 48. Nice, slow and steady. Gold cable on there. We can cover that with a facade, of course. So let's test this out. Cover that up first. Keep it tidy. And put some shit back in there. What wants to go back in there? That can go back in there, and they can go back in there. So our power fist is what we're going to be charging, and our power armor once we make it, of course. So our charging bag, drop that in there, and at a maximum of 10 seconds that's going to disappear. It's going to get through there, into the infuser. It's going to get charged, it's going to get put back into the bag, and as it happened, the timer just went again. But it should stay in the bag for long enough to get it back. Yeah, it works, doesn't it? So there's a little bit of a gap where it's back in your ender pouch, so you can take it. So of course, if we just had that, let's just turn this off a second. In fact, let's just change that. So if we had it so that always on or item in inventory, then the issue you get, of course, is put that in there, it gets pumped out straight away. When it comes back round, it's going to go through the infuser, it's going to get pumped out straight away again. So that's the issue that I had. I mean, you can try and grab it real quick. And also, the other thing is, if you put more than one thing in, it's going to pull more than one thing. But because of the way we've got that set to redstone signal single pulse, then it'll only pull one thing at a time out. So we've got two things in there, it should only put one thing around at a time. So that should actually work perfect for once we've got our fully equipped power tool, and we need to send it back to charge now and again. Our fully set up power armor, we need to send it back to charge. So there we go. That's a little setup there. One other thing that I didn't mention is this guy, PRC memory card. Pretty straightforward. Plastic sheets, redstone, 3 gold nuggets. Makes you this thing. And what I've done with that is, just in case someone fucks up my base, or when I'm showing someone, if they mess around with that and get the circuits wrong, instead of having to work out again in case they've forgotten, what that's done, that's just memorised the settings that are in that PRC down there. So if that PRC was to break for any reason, or if the settings was to be messed up, I could just get this memory card out, click it on that, and that would reset them. Or I suppose I can show you on here, because we can reset this nice and easy. If I click it on there, oh no, did it wrong. I'd actually put it in then. Do we actually have to reinitialize that? Let's confirm that. Oh no, it was right, wasn't it? So I saw inverter there then. Program downloaded from memory card to PRC. Oh yeah, that is right, yeah. So look, if you look in there now, it's now got the 3 channels from the other one. So it set this PRC to be exactly the same as that one. So if that one gets broken, or if I need to set one up exactly the same, I can just use this memory card. But obviously I don't want that. I need to set this back up now. So you reinitialize that and clear that. That gets rid of everything. So let's set that back to our timer again. Wave square, constant, and then middle button. So 16 out of 10. That's cool, isn't it? And then 1, 2, 3, 4 left clicks, gets it to 100. And we want iode north white. There we go. So that's back set up as it should be. And I can put all this shit back together. And we've got an ender bag charging system for our modular power suit. Awesome. Cool. Right, I'll break the camera there, and I'll see what's next. Hello, I'm back again. Before we carry on, I just thought I'd mention that there. Yesterday, after yesterday's episode, a subscriber, Kevin P, said that the glowstone looked a bit scruffy. The fact it just went splashed all over the roof. So I said I'd have a look at making it look a little bit tidier, and I think that looks alright. I put little stone bricks around it. I've edged this a little bit as well with some of them nice chisel blocks, but that kind of keeps it a bit tidier, I think. And what it still does is it still lets me, if you go right to the top, obviously with no jetpack on there, not that this is turned off anyway, but just to show you, with no jetpack on, you actually still land on the top level. So it comes out far enough so that you can still land on the top level. And yeah, so I think that looks tidy. I think he had a valid point. Right, what I've been doing then, since you last saw me, is I've made this second farm here. And so there we go, there's a cocoa farm. That's currently turned off because we've got about 3,000 cocoa, I believe, in the system here. Let's have a look. Oh, we've got 1,500, okay. So if it started using that, that'd kick back in again. I've also got one empty, let's call that a fallow. We've got a fallow field there. I've not actually got a planter under there, so if I did decide to put something in there that needed a planter, I would have to wire up a planter, but that's no big deal. There we go, there's the melons, and you can see the melons have all grown because we've got lots of melons. Lots and lots of melons in here. We've got, well, they should be pulverising. I don't know why they aren't. No, they have, look. Must have gone into the wrong thing by mistake then. It keeps doing that a little bit. Having the storage bus and the pulverisers, I do think I'm going to have to commit to moving them to export buses at some point. Yeah, as you see there, we have plenty of melons, so that will kick in for a long time. What I am going to do though is I'm going to change this so that instead of triggering off seeds, it's going to trigger off melons. I'll show you for why in a minute. So that's there, and then this side is pumpkins, and what we've got in here, look at pumpkins, we haven't actually got any, which is what I'm going to show you in a minute as well. So pumpkin seeds, we've got a craftable recipe in there for pumpkin seeds, and let me just go upstairs and I'll show you what I've done. So pumpkin gives you 4 seeds per pumpkin when crafted. So in our recipes here we've got 1 melon seed, 1 slice of melon gives 1 melon seed, that's right, yeah, and then 1 pumpkin gives 4 pumpkin seeds. And by having these 2 recipes in here, what we can do is head down to the bioreactor here. Now the bioreactor, before I just had this precision export bus here with the 8 items that I had in it. Remember I had 8 items, I had melon seeds there. Well, what I've done now is I've taken melon seeds out of there because we're going to have 9 items in here. We've got pumpkin seeds in here now as well, look. So to have 9 items in here, I needed a second precision export bus anyway. So what I've done with this one is I've set this one to move single items or craft. You see that there in the stack mode? So what this can do is if there's melon seeds or pumpkin seeds in the network, then it'll use them. If there isn't any of them, but there is melons or pumpkins, it'll craft them into seeds and put them in there. So that takes care of the auto crafting into seeds for us as well. So that'll auto craft anytime. So what's happening up there, that farm, the harvest is harvesting full pumpkins, and the auto crafting system is saying that this needs seeds and it can craft them from the pumpkins. So that's doing the crafting for me, so that's putting that in there. So now we have got our 9 items in there, so we've got full efficiency, 1440 MB per tick. So that's pretty cool. I still haven't turned this on. Still don't need it yet, but I'm going to turn it on pretty soon. I'm thinking of doing steam turbines. I've posted a thread on the forum, Feed the Beast forum, a bit back, and said that steam turbines is something I've always liked and never felt the need to do because they don't give enough energy, and it was 100 EU a tick, and because they've got the steel requirement, that means you've always got to be making replacements and that. So someone replied to me saying it's actually really easy, and they now do 200 EU a tick, which is quite interesting. And then yesterday, Direwolf's Server Play episode, they started making them. It reminded me that I do really like the way they look, and it is a pretty cool way of producing EU. And we've got all this MJ, and when we get fuel bees, we're going to have at least a couple of boilers worth of fuel bees on the go probably. So, and I could always expand this to the 24 and get the creosote going into another boiler and having another coke boiler. I could go really silly and have about 15 boilers, and that means I could easily get plenty of EU from steam turbines. So I might even do that. I might do that. But for now, what we've got is, if you actually look in these, not all of these are full now. It's going to make me a liar now and make them all full in it. Well, there's an empty one, look. So that one's getting pulled fully out of. And so is that one. So these two at the end are getting dragged, all the power's getting dragged out of them. but the rest are full, so we're nowhere near pulling 288, but we're pulling a bit. I've been doing a little bit of laser crafting and stuff. That's pretty cool. So yeah, now we've got a fully set up 9 item thing there. This has been full for days, and that's ready to go whenever we need to switch that on. But for now, because that's ready to go whenever we need to switch it on, these are actually all turned off. Well, there will be when this one gets full. At the minute, there's no pumpkins in the system. Like the rest though, this is set to 1024. And what I need to do with that as well is I need to set that to pumpkins, not pumpkin seeds. Same as I've just done with that. So I could set that to a quarter of that though, couldn't I? I'll set that to, because each pumpkin's worth 4 seeds. So once the pumpkin seeds fill up that bioreactor, it'll stop crafting these. So the pumpkins will sit in here as pumpkins, not as seeds. So that trigger needs to be off full pumpkins. But we haven't got any yet, so that'll come in once that's done. So there we go, awesome. We've got all our farms sorted. So everything, our tree farm, and all these farms is all controlled off level emitters. We'll produce items whenever we need them, but we don't produce excess, which is what I like. I kind of like. Another little thing I've just been doing, which hasn't quite worked, but I'll show you anyway, is I've set this guy up to just fill up with coal coke, but I don't want it to pump out because it'll just add to the other boilers, and this hasn't got the dark cable on to control it, so this will just keep using coal. So what I've done on this side is just put the cable balls. I put in a ME interface saying that you can craft an iron ingot into a steel ingot in there, which makes sense here. And next to that there's just a basic import bus to take the steel back into the system. And what I was going to do is, there used to be a condition on the autarkic gates that allowed you to set it so that if the fuel was low it'd turn the signal on, but that's gone. So I don't know where that is. Before there was these inventory ones, and then there was fuel equal less than 25% signal on. So I could have sent that to keep asking for more coal coke when it had less than 16 in here, for example. But that's gone. So I had a look at the ones based on inventory, and that ain't quite working. So that inventory empty, signal on, but that inventory's not empty. That one is, but that one isn't. So if we use that inventory empty to fire, then once it's got full of coal coke, it'll still say empty, so we're going to get coal coke spilling out. So that's no good. Items in inventory, that says there isn't any. There clearly is. So that one ain't working. Space in inventory. Well, there's space in there. So is this just looking at the top one? But then inventory full, it says yes. And clearly that's not full. But that's got an item in it, so that slot's full, let's say. Even though I haven't got a full stack in it, the slot's got something in it. So that's not working how I'd like it. So I'm going to work out another way of... basically what I want to do is I want to keep this blast furnace with some coal coke in it. I don't want to keep this full of coal coke. So I probably have to do it with a level emitter of some kind, or maybe another dark cable. But I'll probably show that next episode. For now though, I think I'm going to wrap up there, have a bit of a short episode for a change. And as always, I hope it was enjoyable and entertaining. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover in this episode. Hopefully tomorrow might be on 0.7. I can start getting my GregTech machines here, and we can start creating the stuff to make us a full MPS power source. That's what I want to go with next. Module there. We need loads of everything for this. HV capacitor needs chrome, which needs my electrolyzer to start sorting out chrome via redstone or rubies. And I want to use the HV capacitor because it's better, so I'd rather just go straight for that. I could make that with titanium. I still need my GregTech stuff. And then these things like control circuits, I could add the field teleporter to my power tool quite easily. The power fix there, I could add that field teleporter to that. All I need is a field teleporter and a control circuit. But to make a control circuit, I need to make some more data storage cells, which needs my assembly thing. I can't remember what it's called. The Greg Tech assembly machine thing. So until I get my Omni wrench, I can't make any of that. But we'll be on with that soon, making all these bits. I think that's one of my next things I want to do. I want to get a full modular power suit. Like I said, I like the thermostatic harness, but having to go and manually fill a jar with potential isn't terrible, but it gets a little bit tedious when you do it all the time. I've filled this up 3 times up to now. I've been flying about a bit at the quarry and stuff though. Right, I won't keep babbling. I'll let you go. And as always, yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you join me next time. Cheers. Bye.